I've shown this many times. Huh?
The Supreme Person of Godhead, who is known as Purushottama, the goddess of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even his servant is implicated in a great offense. He does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities.
See that? Even a person, servants under small service, the Lord accept it has been very great, So that's all he wants, He doesn't need anything from us, but he wants that love, That's what he is. And if you give that love to him, oh, he is so happy that he takes care of all your needs, Oh, that's why Krishna says many times, he who is my devotee, I am a devotee in him, no? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prabhu.
Samaham sarva bhutanam, what is that verse? I think it's 9th Bhagavad Gita. Yes. 929,
Yeah, 929.
So here in this verse, you can see how Krishna is, what happened. Goodness gracious, where am I going? So Bhagavad Gita, you can see here, Samaham sarva bhuteshu name dvishosti napriyaha. E bhajantu tumam bhaktya mahite teshu chapiyaham. You want to read this, please?
Yes, sir. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. He is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
To this point here.
It's very nice.
So that's what he wants, He wants our love. Yes, and we are also wanting to love, but because we don't know, we are putting our love in so many other places. Family, country, business, you name it. So that's what it is. The soul means, to exchange love, no?
Yes, sir.
Correct? So because we are reposing our love in all these things, we're getting very much setback, Because our love is based on sense gratification. How much I can get from you to enjoy myself, no? So that's not called love in Sanskrit, it's called lust, Of course, there's two different words, no? Kama and prema. Yes? Kama is compared to iron and prema is compared to gold. Right? There's a verse also there in CC. It says here in this verse, Kamendriya. Kamendriya, what is that? Atmendriya Prativa, 4165. You see here. This verse, Prabhupada speaks about. You want to read this?
Lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. One should try to discriminate between sexual love and pure love, for they belong to different categories, with a gulf of difference between them. They are as different from one another as iron is from gold. The desire to gratify one's own senses is karma, lust, but the desire to please the senses of the Lord is prema, love.
There are two difference, Trying to squeeze out pleasure for our sense gratification. This is called lust, But to satisfy the Lord, with no expectations in return, that's love, You see this point?
Yes, Prabhu.
You have to know. Can you read down, please, the purport?
The revealed scriptures describe pure love as follows. Savasa davamsa rahitam satir api davasmcha karne yad badva bandhanam yuno saprama prakritikta. If there is ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship, and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. The predominated gopis were bound to Krishna in such pure love. For them, there was no question of sexual love based on sense gratification. Their only engagement in life was to see Krishna happy in all respects, regardless of their own personal interests. They dedicated their souls only for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. There was not the slightest tinge of sexual love between the gopis and Krishna. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita asserts with authority that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulative principles in the Vedas pertaining to desires for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phases of sense gratification. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare, nationalism, religion, altruism, ethical codes, biblical codes, health directives, fruitive action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection or fear of social ostracism or legal punishment, but all these categories are different subdivisions. But all these categories are different subdivisions of one substance, sense gratification. All such good acts are performed basically for one's own sense gratification. For no one can sacrifice his personal interest while discharging these much advertised moral and religious principles. But above all, this is a transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God, because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms. The object of lust is only the enjoyment of one's own senses, but love caters to the enjoyment of Lord Krishna, and thus it is very powerful.
Social customs, scriptural injunctions, bodily demands, fruitive actions, shyness, patience, bodily pleasures, self-gratification, and the path of Vanashundam, which is difficult to give up. The gopis have forsaken all these, along with their families, and suffered their relatives' punishment and scolding, all for the sake of serving Lord Krishna. They render loving service to him for the sake of his enjoyment.
See how much all this thing they gave up to show their love. To show the love for Krishna, there's a price to pay, It's not some just lip service. You understand? Yeah, I love you, I love you. Then he goes around cheating on the back. This is so, because you show love means there's action, no? There's social custom, they gave up. They just ran away from the house, And scriptural injunction, they're not supposed to be going out. Women then cannot go out. And there's no way, And then bodily demands. Everybody has got their demands. Huh? Yes. And then fruitive action. Everyone wants some gain. They want to capitalize, correct? And shyness, woman's quality of shyness is the catalyst of holding a womanhood. Yes. And if that's finished, she's a prostitute. Correct?
Yeah.
And bodily pleasure. They gave that up because, listen, Krishna is demanding middle of the night, And then not only that, he left them also. Yes. Self-gratification and the path of Varnashram Dharma. The Varnashram will never sanction for a young man to meet a young woman, that also a married woman. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Narayani, my granddaughter, they are just here.
Animal, we can see
Take
you.
Krishna. Yes, take this. So then, all these things are not so easy to give up, We are so attracted. That's what's keeping us, We want all this attachment, correct?
Yes.
And family attachment, wow, that you see, just like Chaitanya, now he's missing his family.
It's hard to keep him here.
3 beautiful boys, he's kind of locked out, just smiling faces and charming words. Yes, and of course, the beautiful wife, that's very hard to. Yes, everybody has got this, not only him, every one of us. Yes, correct. Is it not?
Right.
So to forsake all this is the symptom to show that I love you, Krishna. You understand this point? So this is not some just mere words, It's by action. That's practical, To loving God is not some, what we say, some mythological imagination or something. No, it's a practical thing to show how much you love me. Because Krishna put his devotees into severe tasks. Narayani, you take and go that side, go.
Hey Narayani, Haribol.
Take and go. Yeah, come here. Come here. So you can see how Krishna touches his devotees, When Aswatthama was shooting the arrows at Krishna during the battlefield, Arjuna came in front and took those arrows, Although the arrows were piercing him and full of pain, but because he took it for Krishna, he felt so much of love. Huh?
Yeah.
Because Krishna, he doesn't require that. It doesn't require that. Somebody. So you can see how the devotees are showing their love. Hmm? And Bhishma Dev, he fought with Krishna. He was piercing him with arrows. And the blood that was coming out was making the Lord very happy.
Yes.
It's not only the kissing of the gopis, but the arrows on the body. You can see all these verses are there. I show you now. At least I want to read this first, but I'm just going to the point. We'll come back here. You see here how Bhishma Dev was showing his love for Lord by fighting. So you see, love is what the Lord reciprocates, and that's what it all matters. Either you shoot him with arrows or you give him a leaf or flower, some water. Hmm? Yes.
Yes.
So, because the Lord, reciprocates, differently with different people. You can see here. You can read this.
On the battlefield, where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds on his skin dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go into Sri Krishna.
See here. Pleasure. He wanted to make the Lord happy. Either he shoots arrow at him or he offers a little fruit leaf flower, water. The reciprocation is what that counts, how to make Krishna happy. And that's the sum and substance of love. You follow this point.
Yes.
And you have to understand that. And that can only build up. We cannot just go to God directly and start. We have to show. And that is a reciprocation of how to do that. We have to learn how to show our love. Hmm? This is how we have to start, This is.
Yeah. One who desires his ultimate self-interest should cultivate friendship with those persons who have accepted Krishna as a Lord of their life. One should further develop an attitude of service toward all living beings. One should especially try to help those in human form of life, and among them, especially those who accept principles of religious behavior. Among religious persons, one should especially render service to the pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
To this point. So to show that love, you just cannot, of course, with Krishna it's difficult because we don't have any contact with him for now, because with deities is the only way we reciprocate. But the devotees, so we are exchanging loves with the devotees. That is service that Krishna sees. That's why Krishna says, you want to prove that you're loving me, first you must love my servants.
Yes.
Yes. And this is explained in this purport. You can read the purport.
According to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the highest duty for devotees of the Supreme Lord is to establish friendship with those who have completely surrendered to Krishna and who have thus achieved Sarangati, shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. One who should render service to both the Lord and his devotees, since the Lord is more pleased by sincere service rendered to his pure devotees. One should not only officially offer respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his devotees, and his worshipful paraphernalia, but should all actually render service to the representatives of the Lord, who are known as Bhagavats.
So here it is a very important point here. You know, one should not just officially respect the devotees. Huh? You understand? Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, hi, how, you know, you can go on doing that for millions of years. Nothing will change in your heart. You know.
Correct.
You have to really come down on your knees and say, Prabhu, please help me. I want to serve you. That's to show our love, no? Because you not just go do that to any Tom, Dick, and Harry and get screwed up, you know. I mean, because you have to know who is a devotee and who is not a devotee. Yes?
Yes.
Hmm?
Correct.
So then when you find somebody who, as he says here, Mahabhagavata, pure devotee, and of course you may then think, I don't have any idea who that is. So therefore Krishna says in the next verse, you can see, it said, one should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction. And by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up material sense gratification, which is the cause of all suffering. So the whole idea of this association is to become detached from sense gratification, as we were discussing, you know, which is the base of lust. So that can go when we associate with the Lord and serve the devotees. You know, that's why congregation of devotees is so important. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra hoy. Lava mantra sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi hoy. It says here, a moment's association with devotees brings about complete perfection, you know. Yes.
Right. Yes.
So devotional service begins in this platform, you know, how to be humble, to serve, to love each other, caring, concern. How are you doing, Prabhu? How is your health? How is your spiritual life? But sense gratification is how I am doing, you know, how I am, you know, it's more on me. But love is more on others, you know, caring, concern, worrying. Of course, the closest thing that ever comes to that is about the mother with the child, you know, Prabhupada said. Selfless love, you know.
Yeah.
Not expecting anything in return. And that's how parents are with children, you know. The children doesn't care for the parents, actually. Those have been parents, you know. The parents want to love the kid, but the kid doesn't care, you know. That's why that's a higher love, you know, than friendship, you know. You know, friends, they fight and friend, but parent higher, they do all work, but the child doesn't reciprocate at all. The child doesn't care.
Yeah, that's true. Take.
And even higher than that is somebody who's loving and they have other people to love also, then they don't care for you. That's even more heartbreaking. You know? Conjugal love. You put all your everything in and they ignore, the partner ignores you. Oh my goodness, your heart breaks. More so if you go to another person, oh my goodness. And to still love that person, oh my, this is the real. Purposely in front of Krishna, in front of Radharani, Krishna will go to some other gopis. Because he loves her a lot, but he goes to another one to see. And she says, you know what she says? You can see. I'll show you.
Fully renounced.
Is that?
Fully renounced.
Oh yeah, she's look at. I mean, I'm just trying to give you the what she says. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, so you understand her mood. You know, because she's the topmost personality. You know about love. You know, there's nobody out here than her in the. You know, you follow. See here, she's you know saying things like this. How much she is so much sold out to him. Can read this. Read the one on top also. Can you read this?
I am a maid servant at the lotus feet of Krishna. He is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and mellows. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel oneness with him. Or by not giving me his audience, he may corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. My dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life in all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness.
See this point here?
Very
You
devoted.
understand? She's totally surrendered. And for a woman, the lover to go to another woman, so much hurting in her heart, you know.
Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled mind and body by me. Thus, he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving affairs with me.
You see this? You understand? This is the touch Krishna does, you know. It's not that he simply accepts you, oh, you love me, you love me. You want to show me your love, let me see. And here she says further.
For since, after all, he is a very cunning, obstinate debauchee with a propensity to cheat, he takes to the company of other women. He then indulges in loving affairs with them in front of me to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he is still the Lord of my life.
So you see how this love, you can you tolerate that?
No. Yeah, no. Only Krishna can do that.
You understand? You see how she is feeling? Never mind, you can do anything. Still is my Lord, you know. You understand this? That's why
Very
she's the
devoted.
topmost. She's not some ordinary lady, she's the topmost.
Nice process. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his own happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness.
Can you think like that?
I don't know. No.
Eh?
Very nice.
You understand? So you see how love translates.
Completely
It is
different.
not some kind of a joke, you know. And if we
Yeah, it's
more
not
normally, if God doesn't give, they just leave the God, they become atheistic or something. Huh?
Yeah.
Can you read the purport?
Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur Saraswati Thakur, hang on a second. Turn it down. Says that the devotee does not care about his own happiness or and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of sensing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. Those who are materialistic, however, who are very proud of material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, like the Prakriti Sahajas, regard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. This is the mentality of fruitive workers who want to enjoy sense gratification by making a show of service to Krishna.
So anything to satisfy our senses is not love. Of course, partially by offering the fruits like a karma yogi or what, I'm giving to Krishna. Yeah, you give, but you want something in return. So that's not love, no. As Prahlad Maharaj said, that's business, Prahlad Maharaj said to go and ask something in return, that's business. I don't want to do that. Don't tempt me, my Lord, I don't want these things. You understand? But pure love is only you. Even you give me distress also, never mind. That is my happiness. You see? Of course, we will go to that. I think it'll take a long time to explain every little point, but you understand what I'm saying,
Yes.
Sorry. If Krishna, attracted by the beauty of some other woman, wants to enjoy with her but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, catch her hand and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness.
Wow.
Can you do that?
Never.
That's why conjugal love is higher than marriage, what do you call that? Parakya ras and Swakya ras. Swakya ras is marriage and husband and wife, It's difficult for the husband and wife to leave if they do this. So that conjugal love is even higher, She has no say because it's not actually not binding, There's no contract of marriage between them. It is just lover, He can stay, he can go.
This is hard.
You understand? That's why conjugal love higher than this marriage platform, Swakya ras. You understand?
Yes.
So Krishna wants to show the love to the highest extent. And he shows by using Srimati Radharani, how she's feeling. Hey, don't understand Krishna consciousness, To understand Krishna consciousness, you have to know the meaning of love. It is without any return. Selfless service, that's it, unconditional and uninterrupted. So, yes, because Krishna wants to get that from us, so he puts us into various difficulties, actually tests of Maya. To test, of course, he also gives reciprocates, he doesn't like to totally squeeze the devotee out, according, as you say, as you surrender, I reward accordingly. Yes. And each time Krishna has to push the soul up and up and up so that he surrenders more and more and more. You cannot just like take a freshwater fish and put him in the salt water. No, the fish will die immediately, You have to increase the salt day by day, So Krishna has to train us up to come to this level because we cannot become her. But selfless love for Krishna, that's what devotional service is all about. You understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Prabhu.
When the beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger towards Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor.
You know,
Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger toward him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna.
see the attitude of Radharani.
A devotee is satisfied only with his own sense gratification, certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joins the Prakriti Sahajas, who are considered to be non-devotees. If a gopi is envious of me, satisfies Krishna, and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maidservant, for then my happiness will be awakened.
That, and it goes to a story about a man who had leprosy, and then he wanted to. Can you read?
The wife of Rama, suffering from leprosy, manifested herself as the topmost of all chaste women by serving a prostitute to satisfy her own husband. She thus stopped the movement of the sun, brought her dead husband back to life, and satisfied the three principal demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara.
You know this, what's the name? This, you can read the purport of the story.
The Aditya Puran, Makendriya Puran, and the Padma Puran tell about a Brahmana who was suffering from leprosy, but had a very chaste and beautiful and faithful wife. He desired to enjoy the company of a prostitute, and therefore his wife went to her and became her maidservant, just to draw her attention for his service. When the prostitute agreed to associate that, when the prostitute agreed to, sorry,
when that leper, the sinful son of Brahmana,
when the prostitute agreed to associate with him, the wife brought her leprotic husband. When that leper, the sinful son of a Brahmana, saw the chastity of his wife, he finally abandoned his sinful intentions. While coming home, however, he touched the body of Markandeya Rishi, who thus cursed him to die at sunrise. Because of her chastity, the woman was very powerful. Therefore, when she heard about the curse, she vowed to stop the sunrise. Because of her strong determination to serve her husband, the three deities named Rama, Vishnu, and Maheshwara were very happy, and they gave her the benediction that her husband would be cured and brought back to life. This example is given herein to emphasize that the devotee should engage himself exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna without personal motives. That will make his life successful.
So this story of this, I don't know the name, but I think it's, there's also another story about how Satyavan, But the main thing is to show how the woman is so surrendered to, the husband. That even he wants a prostitute, even if he was a leper, he wanted to have some, although he has a chaste wife, he still aspire another prostitute. And they don't have money. The wife went to work in a house so that she can, get her husband to associate with her. Can you imagine what kind of a love is that? And when they find out his wife was doing this, he gave up his idea. And even though he was cursed to die, she stopped the son. I mean, such powerful women. because of their chastity. So like that, Radharani is giving this example. Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the very life of my life. I therefore keep him always in my heart and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. Of course, this is a very high, very, very high level of love. Can you read on?
My happiness is in the service. You go, Prabhu.
My happiness is in the service of Krishna, and Krishna's happiness is in union with me. For this reason, I give my body in charity to the lotus feet of Krishna, who accepts me as his loved one and calls me his most beloved. It is then that I consider myself his maidservant.
See how our intentions are.
Service to my lover is the home of happiness and is more sweet than direct union with him. The goddess of fortune is evidence of this, for although she constantly lives on the heart of Narayana, she wants to render service to his lotus feet. She therefore considers herself a maidservant and serves him constantly. These statements by Srimati Radharani show the symptoms of pure love for Krishna tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that ecstatic love, his mind was unsteady. Transformations of transcendental love spread throughout his entire body, and he could not sustain his body and mind.
So this is a symptom of highest symptom of ecstatic love. To give everything for Krishna for his satisfaction. You understand? Because what we are going through is, I don't know about you, but for myself, we are on lowest platform, not even a neophyte, trying to be a neophyte. But at least we should understand the objective, of how to develop our loving exchange by caring, by loving, concern. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
This is the beginning, how to exchange love. It is without any returns, The moment we have some reasons of doing that, flattering and cajoling and whatever, that means there's some interest. And that immediately is like having milk and putting salt in it. Nobody can drink that. Because when there's some intention, motives, then it is no more love, Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
And that's what all the material world is all about. If they want something, they go flatter. Motivated love and unmotivated love, two different subjects. And of course, you cannot cheat Krishna because Krishna is in the heart. That's another thing you have to understand. Let me finish, please. You understand? Krishna is in the heart. You cannot cheat him. He is observing all our moves. So that's why if you understand that Krishna is in the heart, then you will also become very sincere. I know I shouldn't do this, Krishna is there, how can I do it? You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, is it also the untainted is the unconditional love that it's
Give me a minute. Hare Krishna. Hello. What is that again?
so is the untainted the without the love without sort of other intentions, that's the unconditional love for Krishna and then in turn for anybody and in all sentient beings? Like,
Yes.
is that the
I already
Okay.
explained that verse, as we were reading from that, you came late, It starts with serving the devotees. You understand? The reciprocation builds up. You cannot go directly to God, and say, I love you, I love you. You have to show that love by associating with the devotees, reciprocating with the devotees. You understand?
Yes.
So that is important. That's why devotional service means association. You cannot perform devotional service like all these others sitting under the tree or going into the cave to meditate and all this. This doesn't work. Devotional service means, yes, I serve you. I have to show that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you following? And she's
Yes.
showing Radharani an example. It's why all these personalities are there to study how they are loving Krishna. Do you understand that? And
Yes.
even to further teach us, he comes down personally as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show how to love. You follow my point?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what love is all about, That's why lust and love are two different subjects altogether, as we are reading, correct?
Yes.
And all of us who are lusty, we cannot go to Krishna. That's not possible. If you are lusty, forget it. There's no possibility of going anywhere. Understand this point? Just like it says here. Yeah, why God is in our heart, we cannot see him. What's wrong with that? He is sitting in my heart. So why I cannot see him? Yeah, why? What's the reason I cannot see him? What happened? You want to read this?
My Lord, you are the supreme well-wishing friend of everyone, the dearmost friend of the controller, the super soul, the supreme instructor and the giver of supreme knowledge and the fulfillment of all desires. But although you are within the heart, the foolish, because of lusty desires in the heart, cannot understand you.
Understand? Hello?
Yes. Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Gopal, breathe.
Herein the reason for foolishness is described, because the conditioned soul in the material world is full of materialistic, lusty desires, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hirdesi Munya Tistani.
Iswaraha sarva bhutanam hriday sarjuna tistati. Read on, please.
It is because of this foolishness that one cannot take instructions from the Lord. Although the Lord is ready to instruct everyone both externally and internally, the Lord says, Dadami buddhi byogam tanyana mamam upanyatite. In other words, the Lord can give instructions on devotional service by which one can return home back to Godhead. Unfortunately, however, people do not take this devotional service. The Lord, being situated in everyone's heart, can give one complete instructions on going back to Godhead, but because of lusty desires, one engages himself in materialistic activities and does not render service to the Lord. Therefore, one is bereft of the value of the Lord's instructions. By mental speculation, one cannot understand that one is not the body, but a spirit soul. But unless one engages in devotional service, the real purpose of life is never fulfilled. The real purpose of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, and live with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. play with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, dance with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and eat with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are different items of Ananda, spiritual happiness, in spiritual
variegatedness,
I don't know what that means.
spiritual varieties.
Okay, and even though one may come to the platform of Brahma Buddha, she understands his spiritual identity by speculative knowledge. One cannot enjoy spiritual life without understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is indicated by the word Abhista Siddhi. One can fulfill the...
Hare Krishna. Hey, the God place finish already. I can put inside today, right?
Without understanding, this is indicated here by, so one can fulfill the ultimate goal of life only by engaging in devotional service to the Lord. Then the Lord will give one proper instructions on how to go back home, back to Godhead.
That's why we have to first surrender and learn all these things by having a spiritual master. That's the basic, to develop love for our spiritual master. And then that love, because he's a representative of Krishna, so that love develops unconditionally. You understand?
Yes.
Spiritual master teaches us how to love God. So you have to act like a menial servant to the spiritual master. Even if he chastise you or whatever, you have to take it.
Mm.
Yes?
Yes, right.
So without that training, it's very difficult to make progress. Yes.
Yes.
Is it not?
In the morning and evening, one should collect foodstuffs and other articles and deliver them to the spiritual master. Then, being self-controlled, one should accept for oneself that which is allotted by the Acharya.
You cannot go and take it and eat. No, you have to, unless he gives you. You see how the training.
It's tough training.
That's why, because the mind is tough, no? You need tough training to break down the mind. It's not 1-2 years of, this is life after life after life. We have been living with this crazy mind. Understand? Yeah, this is how you have to learn how to live with the Guru. Not take him as a fashion, come on a weekend and say hi and go home. No. It doesn't work. Understand?
That's true.
Read, please.
While engaged in serving the spiritual master, one should remain as a humble servant. And thus when the Guru is walking, the servant should humbly walk behind. When the Guru lies down to sleep, the servant should also lie down nearby. And when the Guru has awakened, the servant should sit near him, massaging his lotus feet and rendering other similar services. When the Guru is sitting down on his asana, the servant should stand nearby with folded hands, awaiting the Guru's order. In this way, one should always worship the spiritual master.
It's about a pure spiritual master, not a crazy one.
Yes. Until the student has completed his Vedic education, he should remain engaged in the ashram of the spiritual master. Should remain completely free of material sense gratification, and should not break his vow of celibacy, brahmacharya.
Now they're going to the college. The first thing they do is to get hold of Annie and a Jane. Yes. That's the first thing they do. Yes.
Yes.
What kind of education is that?
No education.
Hmm. So here again, Vedic studies, Now, the point I'm trying to make is that we have to learn how to become submissive and learn how to surrender to Krishna totally. That cannot work with our own ability. We need a spiritual master. And we need the association of devotees. Prabhupada has set up the temples all over the world. The whole idea is to develop this love, because this is how he starts. And finally, as I've spoken, how he develops to the point of Srimati Radharani exhibiting the topmost love. Doesn't mean that if you don't come to that platform, but at least you come to the point of loving Krishna as a servant or as a friend, or as even, or you come in even the neutral stage to accept Krishna as an authority. That's in the neutral stage, Santaras. These are all 5 loving exchange that Krishna exhibits with the living entity. But we cannot come to that unless we start off with serving the devotees, the spiritual master, and everybody. Yes,
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 Prabhu.
ma'am.
Yes, Prabhu.
without caring for others, you cannot love God. That's not possible. Spiritual world, you cannot go if you don't develop that loving exchange of doing good for others, You follow? They also explain here in this verse. I just show you so that you can understand. This is how we can soften our heart. It's not some joke that we are doing here. It's really trying to reform our consciousness. That's why Krishna consciousness is a topmost science.
Bye.
You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you read this?
The self-effulgent Vaikuntha planets, by whose illumination alone all the illuminating planets within this material world give off reflected light, cannot be reached by those who are not merciful to other living entities. Only persons who constantly engage in welfare activities for other living entities can reach the Vaikuntha planets.
And what is the highest welfare activity?
Service to Krishna.
No. Highest welfare activity is to teach others about Krishna. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Bring them to Krishna consciousness. Because you can serve the Lord you can do welfare activity in 4 ways, either with your mind, your words, or your wealth, or your intelligence. That's 4 ways you can do. But the highest is to help the conditioned soul to come back to the original senses of being servant of Krishna, to help them. It's a science, What we are doing here is a real reformation of our hearts. Because we have been trained to be, what do we say? Self-centered. That's our training from day one. The whole education system is based on me and my.
Me, mama.
How I can manipulate, how can I, cheat someone, Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
this is how we are trained. So how you can love God with all these crazy things in the heart?
not possible.
Not possible at all. That's why becoming a materialistic person is a no-go, It will not work. It's like today you can see Everything is on how to manipulate and take advantage.
I'll
That
take
is
advantage
sum
of
and
it.
substance. That is the sum and substance of their whole rhetoric, their ideology. It's how to, use the word use. If I get an upper hand on someone, wow, I feel so good. That's the mode of passion. Thinking I'm the best, I will enjoy. All this demonic consciousness is so much prevailing. Everybody is indoctrinated with this stuff. They don't know what is love. If everybody can understand this love, then there's no problem in this world. Yes,
Yes. So, cheating the cheaters.
yes, and this is what Krishna consciousness has got to give the whole world.
Mm.
Without Krishna, there's no possibility of anything happening. Forget it. You can try the rest of your life. If you reject Krishna, you're not going nowhere. Again, repeated birth and death. Going back to the cycle of repeated birth and death. We have no choice. This whole world belongs to Krishna, not to us. That we have to understand. Unless we play his cards, we are not going anywhere. Either you're Australian, or you're Japanese, or you're Russian, or whatever. You follow?
Yes, Prabhu.
So why not take some bold steps and say, look, I want to love Krishna. I want to surrender to him. And yes, then Krishna will take control of our life and he will guide us properly. And we will get, to learn. Because without, there's another important thing we have to learn. Without actually, what is the word, recollecting our past, all our wrongdoings, what is that word? I take out, I take out the verse. I think it is here.
Forgive.
No, I just forgot that word, Give me a minute, I cannot take it out. Yeah, it is here now, I got it. Unless we repent, that's the word, correct.
Repenting, yeah.
Unless we repent, and see what kind of a rascal we have been, it's difficult to make progress, Yeah, here it is there, this word. Huh? You see here, can you read this page?
I, the pure soul, appearing now bound by my activities, am lying in the womb of my mother by the arrangement of Maya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him who is also here with me, but who is unaffected and changeless. He is unlimited, but he is perceived in the repentant heart. To him I offer my respectful obeisances.
We are not going to be repenting. It's going to be difficult.
Yes.
That's why in the womb, Krishna, shows 100 lives that we have been through. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
We are not such great souls, we are big rascals, You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
You see this here? Can you read this thing?
Child thus remains just like a bird in the cage, without freedom of movement. At that time, the child is fortunate. He can remember all the troubles of his past 100 births, and he grieves wretchedly. What is the possibility of peace of the mind in that condition? I wouldn't like to remember my past times.
Is enough what we are going through to understand what we did in the past?
Yes.
Yes, so even this life we have done so many nonsense either. Correct, don't speak about that, you know. That's why it's explained here also. You can see another point. You know, everything is science, you know, very scientific here. We are not talking about some kind of, you know, abstract stuff and some nonsense, you know. Yes?
Yes,
Sure.
Prabhu.
That's why the Bhagavatam is so important book, you know. You can see here how this is explained again further. This repentance stuff. Huh? This is Ajamil speaking. Eh? Anyone want to help me?
Was this a dream I saw, or was it reality? I saw fearsome men with ropes in their hands coming to arrest me and drag me away. Where have they gone? And where have those 4 liberated and very beautiful persons gone, who released me from arrest and saved me from being dragged down to hellish religions or regions? I am certainly most abominable and unfortunate to have merged in an ocean of sinful activities, but nevertheless, because of my previous spiritual activities, I could see those 4 exalted personalities who came to rescue me. Now I feel exceedingly happy because of their visit.
By the association of devotees, he got purified. And now you see he is repenting.
Were it not for my past devotional service, how could I, a most unclean keeper of a prostitute, have gotten an opportunity to chant the holy name of Vaikuntapati when I was just ready to die? Certainly it could not have been possible. Ajamila continued, I am a shameless cheater who has killed his Brahmical culture. Indeed, I am sin personified. Where am I in comparison to all auspicious chanting, to the all auspicious chanting of the holy name of Lord Narayana? I am such a sinful person, but since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life, and senses, and always engage in devotional service, so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness of ignorance of material life. Because of identifying oneself with the body, one is subjected to desires for sense gratification, and thus one engages in many different types of pious and impious action. This is what constitutes material bondage. Now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage, which has been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's illusionary energy in the form of a woman. Being a most fallen soul, I was victimized by the illusory energy and have become like a dancing dog led around by a woman's hand. Now I shall give up all lusty desires and free myself from this illusion. I shall become a merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and always absorb myself in Krishna consciousness. Simply because I chanted the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees, my heart is now becoming purified. Therefore, I shall not fall victim again to the false lures of material sense gratification. Now that I have become fixed in the absolute truth, henceforward I shall not identify myself with the body. I shall give up false conception of I and mine and fix my mind on the lotus feet of Krishna.
So this is a point that I'm trying to make. It's an example of, what is that word I said? Repenting, yes, correct. I keep forgetting it because I don't do it, I guess. So you see, repentance is so important. So every day we have to repent. I'm such a rascal, you know. That otherwise our mind will delude us. And only the repenting heart has access to the lotus feet of the Lord. Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
I think I have spoken at length. I hope you can forgive me if I have spoken something not pleasant.
No, not strong. The bitterness is the sweetness at the end anyway.
That's why heavy words are required to wake us up, you know.
Yeah. People remember the bitter stuff first, then don't remember the sweet things.
So you have any questions on this subject?
No, Prabhu.
Very clear. Actually, I like the verses you pointed out in the Adi, the Radharani's.
Oh yeah,
It's very nice. I haven't read those before.
you haven't read that before.
No, okay.
So many years.
So I should already.
So this is what love is all about, you know. And it cannot happen unless we repent and we try to surrender to the spiritual master and the devotees. So let us try some way and pray for Krishna to help us.
Yes.
Let Krishna make it possible how we can do it. But Krishna cannot make it possible unless we want it to be done.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So thank you for your very kind association.
Thank you,
Thank you
Prabhu.
for your holy association, Prabhu.
By your association, all these words came out, you know. Yeah, how fortunate Krishna is to me.
No, we are very fortunate to have a personality such as yourself.
I'm very fortunate to be with all of you wonderful devotees. I hope you will give me some mercies that I can some way or other do some service to you, Prabhupada.